What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 27 or something along those lines of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Imrik Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we have acquired Avalorn and now just have Yvresse remaining to Confederate. I mean, technically Tiranoc and the and Torellosaur out here, but you know, they're not super. Yeah. Anyway, in addition to that, while Ilariel's going to be busy being reset for a little bit, together with Teclis for now, Erathon has arrived back or returned triumphantly to the donut, where he quickly kicked Be'lakor and Nikari off of said donut. Looks like they've got one settlement remaining out here and will be free of enemies, at least on land. There's still plenty of enemies floating around us, however. I think one of the, well, not so much problems, but the differences, I suppose, with the Imrik campaign compared to a couple of others is since we're not really using the whole vassal thing as much, and the fact that, well, all the other possible allied factions have been completely overrun, is that we're dealing with a lot ourselves rather than relying on our allies to protect our borders, which is a pretty interesting dynamic, as it does have us jumping around all over the place, almost like a macrocosm of the start of a Kislev campaign, where you're surrounded by enemies on all sides, and there's always potentially more enemies that can't or haven't yet attacked you, like the Skaven here, for example, and a bunch of other stuff here. Anyway, let's get started with whatever it is we have to do this time. Imrik is still heading towards Scarby, so we will, let's say, move him in camp stance so that he doesn't take any more attrition, and we'll see if Scarby will be up at Gorgazan. I'm really hoping that we can find him, and no, it's not him. Now, this faction will be destroyed, which will give us the long victory. I can't wait for that campaign movement range increase faction-wide. That's gonna be great. I'm hoping that Skarbrand is gonna come back. As in, I'm hoping that he's dead somewhere and not like a garbage little army running around somewhere with him in the lead. But, well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Also, while we're here, Arwenil, we noticed that last episode these guys did not sally out, which means I guess we're going to have to fight them manually, aren't we? What do we have here? A bunch of bloodletters, a minotaurs, yada yada yada. Alright, let's fight this manually real quick. It's a siege battle, so we don't have much of a choice in the matter, so knock down those walls and proceed. And, this is not a good map for the enemy to be fighting on because they don't have towers here or here, depending on where we choose to attack. Probably here because the hillside is more advantageous to the range units that we've got. Now, what I probably should have checked before going into this battle was whether the enemy has the summon bloodletters ability in this army. I guess we're going to find out the painful way, if in fact they can. Alright, we built a couple towers as well, should we desire to use them. I'm not actually sure that we would need them here, because the spears would actually lose in melee combat over the, or against the Khorne troops. On the other hand, do we care about damage to the spears? I'm not sure we do about that either. You know what we could do? We could wait to claim the walls a little bit and then maybe send the Sisters of Avalorn up there. Let's open up the gate either way. We also have dragons helping out the spears and phoenixes potentially here, plus obviously Michaela. There we go, fire army looking good already. We're gonna get at least one more fire dragon in here, maybe another fire mage as well. Michaela deserves an apprentice, doesn't she? Very, very nice. And yeah, Gordonar looking much bigger than the rest as well. Don't worry, we'll get some proper cinematic fights for this particular army as we go. Sisters of Avalorn, you can sort of set yourselves up like right here, maybe. Yeah, the Rangers are a little bit in the way, but we're going to delete them from this army in a bit. And we'll have the Handmaiden of the Everqueen lead the Sisters, and okay, the Towns of Torquelada can be in here as well, but they have shorter range and therefore can be out front. Plus, if the enemy somehow manages to strike at them, then they can be the ones to take damage. And there we go. You're in a Moondragon, which also kind of works in terms of color scheme, but you're not a fire wielder. Your fire spells are diluted by being high magic, I guess. So yeah. Alright, that looks good to me. Start battle. Let us... Well, I guess we're gonna head you towards the gate anyway. You guys switch to main fire. The multi-shot fire. And then you, I just need to get close enough so that you can fire upon the enemy up there. And then we'll clear the walls a little bit. Any of you have skirmish mode on? No, you're good. Alright, and Towns of Torquelada firing as they move, whereas everybody else is not. And magical arrows of the Sisters of... Oh, look at that volley, deleting about half of the HP off of the Exalted Bloodletters. And this is the problem for the enemy with this particular map. There's a little bit of extra elevation, which makes it a lot easier for our units to fire over the Merlins. It's kind of difficult to see what's going on because of the fireworks from the Sisters of Avalorn. I love it. Alright, very nice. Just be careful with your ammunition as it isn't super high right now, and go right here. Gate is still heading towards the enemy, though we can maybe move you all a little bit closer. We don't really need to cast anything as yet either. Let's sort of slowly work our way through the enemy here. Actually, you know what? Let's move everybody here. I'd like to get a breath or two on the units that are up here. Since our unit's having a little bit of a tough time actually firing upon them. Alright, how about you? We'll start with you. Gordonar, this is... they're actually gonna move away lest they get the fire breath upon them. Alright, Michaela, you wanna start with a little bit of a firestorm? There's honestly not a lot of enemies moving around here. I guess you could do a breath as well. But the enemy's not blobbed up. Well, their gate is now down. Alright, let's keep softening them up with a little bit more range attacks. So I'll just get away before we damage ourselves, even if it is fire damage. Our Thilmar chariots and our reinforcing unit have made their way onto the field. Let's move our Eagle Claws forward. And the bombardment will continue until morale improves. Oh, Bloodletters, you shouldn't have moved into range of the Sisters of Avalorn. They're made for obliterating a unit like you. There we go, those poor Bloodletters. And I'm sure the Towns of Torquelada are helping as well, as they're applying Flammable and allowing the Sisters of Avalorn to do even more damage. Although by the looks of it, not for too much longer, as they're about 40% of their way through all their ammunition. Michaela, move forward once again. These units have moved up here. I don't want to move up there directly with our... oh, that's a waste of ammunition. Let's move you forward again. I don't want to move up there directly with our units, because I want to get the fire breath down. Come on, before they move. And... Alright, good work from Michaela. Fire, you were born of this perhaps, but still does have damage to you. Beautiful. And that's going to cause them to move. Alright, you know what? Flyers, let's get you all in here. The enemy can't really do anything about you. And we don't really need to land, but we can, well, we can prepare. Alright, haven't bothered moving all of these guys up here. Oh, the towers are probably blocking our shots a little bit. Let us move you like here. And everybody else keep firing. Phoenixes, don't really need to do anything yet. Michaela, I think it's time for a little bit of spell work. It's gonna be too late. Alright, let's do this instead, because that one activates right away. How will the enemy react to this? By stopping in their tracks. And we can continue firing. Alright, nice, a double flame storm. Well, that seems pretty appropriate for Michaela. Let us get a breath out. I don't know. Ooh, looks like the enemy lord is basically done. He's trying to find a way to escape our units. I don't know where those minotaurs are going, but I do know that we can get a nice moon dragon breath upon them. Hopefully that tree doesn't block it. And no, it's just gonna whiff, yeah. Yeah, poor aim, poor aim. Oh well, still a lot of minotaurs here as well. Can't do too much about them though. Alright, keep firing, keep firing. This is why I was thinking that this battle should be auto-resolvable, but we got a bunch of battles to do in this particular episode, so why not have a little bit of a manual one, even if it is a relatively simple one. Get that chain lightning up and running, keep killing those minotaurs. We'll have to fight eventually when we run out of ammunition, so we might as well just keep doing this. You know what, towers, I think you should dock now, mostly because I would like to get the Sisters of Avalorn up there. Although, to be fair, they're probably going to be out of ammunition by the time you do dock. Are there any units that are really isolated? There's a units of Chaos Warriors with halberds. There's a few units up here, maybe, that we could do. I'll leave the rest of our melee troops to continue their bombardment of the enemy. And it looks like the Exalted Bloodletters are going to head up to the walls. There's still a decent amount of Khornate Warriors up there as well. We could go for this unit of Exalted Bloodletters. You, go here. And drop a few Wake of Fire Phoenix bombs on them. 1, 2. Yeah, that does good damage to the Bloodletters. Beautiful. And then everybody land and kill them before they do too much damage. Lovely. I guess we can watch this. And they're already in banishment. Alright, beautiful. And we're gonna get 2 more Fire Phoenixes. Everybody's nice and color coordinated in here. Just as much as the Coordinate Force. That's what I like to see. Moon Dragon working nicely together with the Fire Dragons, and this unit is done. Let's find the next isolated unit, which appears to be a unit of Chaos Warriors. And, oh! That Cultist of Khorne survived? Oh, that's shocking. Alright, Spears. This is perhaps not the best idea, but it's too late now. We're committed to this. You know what? Let's get the other units in. Rangers, go forward. And Philmar Chariots, let's face it, you're not going to be of any real use here. And the towns of Torquelada still have about half of their ammunition, whereas... Really? Don't... Guys, what are you doing, man? they're just firing into our spears. Oh, fire onto the enemy, oh lord, please. Alright, you guys... Well, maybe get a few more breaths going before we're doing anything else. We do have spare breaths, and we do have a few more spare Phoenix bombardments. There we go. Oh, look at that damage. Those poor units. Keep flying around. Probably could be using both Phoenixes for this, but I'd rather maybe save at least a little bit of the Phoenix ammunition so that we could potentially, if we need to, use it on the... Oh, hello. I didn't even notice they had Skull Crushers. Potentially, if we need to, use it on enemy Bloodletters. Anyway. Dragon Breath. Very nice. Alright, that one did great damage. And you still have a breath as well. Plenty of breaths. Poor enemies. Again, I feel slightly bad. But this is what they get for making us fight this battle manually when in theory we shouldn't need to. Oh wow, the Eagle Claw was firing through the gate there. Anyway, everybody come down. It's time to get the signs of Mathlanen. Like so. Please don't climb. There we go. Alright, those units are going to get destroyed. Looks like some Minotaurs are going to head in, but I think we have too many units for them to do much about it. And Spears, actually holding off a few enemies. Sisters of Avalorn, you can certainly fight in melee, but I don't really see any need to. Let's activate the Embers of the Phoenix to buff everybody up. You guys can hold the line. And then let us go Apotheosis on Michaela. She's taking a little bit of damage, but to be fair, she's at least a little bit used to it. Alright, all of you focus these Minotaurs of Khorne. Sisters of Avalorn, or of Handmaiden of the Everqueen, rather. You're still ready to move into the fight. And let's get some Rangers in here as well. We'll watch the rest of the fight in a second. Just want to make sure that we... Okay, you're going to get damaged if you fight like this. Make sure that we cast at least a few things. Arcane on Forging. I was going to pop it on that Blood Shrine or on those Skull Crushers, but they're not here either. Alright. Dragon, you're still fighting. Do we need a breath? Do we need any kind of spell work? I think we're okay. Maybe we should try to kill off that spawn of Khorne. Phoenix, you can maybe help out with that. The Minotaurs are running. Maybe we could drop a few Phoenix Embers. There we go, not bad, not bad. And then drop a few more. Hey, there's that Blood Shrine. Time for an Arcane on Forging. Drop a few more Phoenix Embers right there. Beautiful. Alright, that unit is pretty much dead. Where's our Winnow? Arcane on Forging is here. Let's pop it on the Blood Shrine, and then everybody target the Blood Shrine. Lovely. We'll need another Apotheosis on our Wendell as well, who's taking a little bit of damage. Some of those Minotaurs are coming back, but I'd wager not for long. New Chaos Warriors of Khorne unit has arrived. Let's hit him with a nice non-overcast bombardment so that the increased range doesn't do damage to us. Our Rangers and our melee units are rampaging and taking damage, but that's fine, whatever. And there's those Skull Crushers. Alright, everybody head towards the Skull Crushers. I don't want them dishing out damage to our Prince. Obviously, the casualties here don't really matter because we'll just heal up in our own territory, but, well, nonetheless, at least until we get the retrofits, we should still do as much damage as we can. I know those rampaging spears are going to get hurt. I should separate a couple of Phoenixes off. Go for those Minotaurs. Even though obviously these spears are also going to get replaced. And, ooh, looks like you've taken a little bit of damage, Prince. Let's get you another Apotheosis, shall we? And I've been looking for a reason to use this Chain Lightning. Let's use it on some of the runners. And let's go Bound Fiery Convocation through you guys. That's probably going to hurt our own spears a little bit. But it'll pretty much delete this unit. There we go. Don't bounce this way, don't bounce. Ah, damn it. Yep, that hurt our own spears quite a bit. Alright, I should have been watching the angle. Gotta be careful with the bouncing those off the walls. Alright, let's buff ourselves up. At least it was funny. Obviously, I'd be taking a little bit more care if we cared about any of these basic units. Alright, anything else? Do we need another apotheosis? Oh, looks like Solaris taking a little bit of damage, if I can find him in here. Rampaging, there he is. Heal him up nice. And, well, Bo the Seafarer isn't going to really do anything for us. And we could get another Flamestorm right there for this unit of Chaos Warriors with Halberds coming in, but it looks like they're just about done, and now they're actually going to stop rather than moving in. Alrighty, probably could have continued the bombardment for a little while with our artillery, but I got a little bit impatient. Alrighty, nice. Do we need one more apotheosis before we... Well, not really. To be honest, I think everybody will heal to full anyway, but it can't hurt. And we're good. Alrighty. Decisive victory, and no problem, just the damage to our basic units, which don't really make up an important part of this particular army, as the only basic unit that we're going to keep here is the Talons of Caledor. We're not even going to keep the Eagleclaw Bolt Throwers in the Fire Army. More Phoenixes instead. Another dragon, a couple more phoenixes, and some phoenix guard, of course. The spears are going to take the place, or going to be replaced by the phoenix guard as soon as we're getting them in here. And obviously the Science of Mathlan, the Sea God, have no place in an army dedicated to either Asuryan or Adeoth. I'm still not entirely sure which, since they're both sort of fire gods. I mean, Adeoth is directly a fire god, but Phoenix is... Flame, or the Phoenix Flame is still the symbol of Asuryan, but anyway, occupy. Alright, Headsman doesn't matter, Talisman of Protection, sure. Moon Dragon for Admiral Astakar, I don't know why you're telling us about... Admiral Astakar is the one down here, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Moon Dragon, go for it. Good. Next, we do have this floating village here. This might be worthy of a cinematic fight for these guys. It'll probably take us about 2 turns to get here. We'll also probably have to chase down this darn Man-Blight tribe, because they'll probably move towards us as well. Arwinil, do you need anything other than... I mean, you have Skymaster, which was the important one. Tempest isn't super important because we're unlikely to meet any flying units. I guess we do use Arcane Unfortune occasionally, so let's pop that, and then we'll move into Master Strategist to buff up the inevitable Phoenix Guard in here. Alright. And the Phoenix Guard make it more of an Asuryan thing. Alistar and Phaedon. Alright, so Alistar, you're going to move into Noble Prestige. You're going to take Grenstad real quick. We'll auto-resolve this one because there's nothing really here. But we will move Phaedon into Reinforce, and we'll give the Lion Banner to somebody as well. Phaedon, I would like you to go into Lilith's Blessing, and then I would like you to take the Lion from Alistar, the Celestial Lion. There we go. Because those are going to stay in your army, and the line is going to be replaced by a Beast Mage. Alright, you will get the Razor Standard to power yourselves up. And who here is not immune to psychology? I think none of the lions are, so we could put the lion standard on an actual unit of lions, like Rahagra's Pride. Do they actually need the additional damage? Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they're gonna get it, so yeah. Alrighty, now they're immune to psychology. Good, and this looks auto-resolvable, and let's just hope that it doesn't do too much damage to our chariots. Okay, that one was fine. I mean, they had basically nothing there. Occupy, please. Only temporarily, mind you, as we're restoring the Empire and giving it back to the Imperials. Faction destroyed, Clan Angren, sad to see Belagar go. He's a great character, but, well.
Destiny lies there.
Basically everybody on the map hates him, so kinda had to be done. Alright, we are also within striking distance of Castle Drakenhof, so that's a good thing. Let's see, Recruiter Fernharvest. Now, I think we don't have enough money to recruit right now, but we'll deal with you in a bit. Erathond, oh right. Destroy the remnants of Bellacor's little army here. Oh, he can still move and we can't catch him. That's a bit of a shame, but what can you do? Maybe if we can go into regular stance? Nope, still can't catch him. Alright, fine. Fine, if you want to play it that way. Belharathoi, you are going to grab the Black Pillar, then we'll get a temporary Lord and then have them hit Spiked Reach while we loop back around to Ashrak and Valkia the Bloody. I'll resolve this real quick, put the Wailing Banner on... I don't know, maybe on one of the spears? Why not? Power up the spears, that'll give them a little bit of fear and terror. Maybe Belharathoi's basic units have gotten enough XP that they are devastatingly effective. Occupy the place. Like so. Another glittering scales, an item that we can use. I've always been surprised by the fact that the glittering scales are a common item or basic item rather than a better one. I mean, it's not much of a debuff, mind you, to be fair. It's just that it feels like they're more useful than a lot of other items. Ah, we can just get this guy in here. Rather than paying for another prince. Unless there's a nice one that we want to get, but it doesn't look like that there are. Also, oh, wait. But if we get a new one, it'll pay for itself, won't it? On the other hand, we wouldn't have to... You know what? No, let's get this guy. Tidroros. Yeah, Rude Marcher for you. Yeah, the thing is, with Merchant Lord, these guys do pay for themselves at whatever level you recruit them at, but I don't want to spend the money right now, because there are a couple of things I wanted to pay for, i.e. recruit. Etilnai. I'm going to go into March Stance right beside Fyldorf, protect it. I assume these guys can't take it with just a Reduke in a single attack. Let's hope not. Go right beside Fyldorf. And then we'll see where these guys go afterwards. Huh. And if they go after Gristle Valley, I guess we could take it and then give it to these guys. Might be nice to trade Fort Saul and then, yeah, alright. Separate their territories effectively. I've always wondered if the AI got angrier at other factions that sort of shared nearby territory with them. Alright, there's the battle against Pete Hawkins, there's the battle against Gromy, and you know what, I think we want to knock out Nakari's faction for good. So let's start with this, Morel, plus I want to see the Treekin and Dryads in action as well. You two are gonna fight, so, Lilith's Blessing for you. You are currently a Noble Prestige. You don't have much in the... Well, actually, you do have Spirit Leech on you. Wait, you have Uranon's Thunderbolt and Spirit Leech? What are you getting both of those from? Oh, you're a Conductor. That's where the Uranon's is from, eh? But you can't go in the Lilith's Blessing, so you're gonna have to stay as you are. Alright, looks good to me. Pile of enemy spawn, a little bit of potential damage to us. These two are untested and they're not even gonna stick around, but our Dryads and co are, so let's give it a shot. Go. All right, here we go. Oh, the cloak of the Archmage of Death, almost suspiciously matching the Slaanesh-colored skies. But anyway, here we go. Dryads and Treekin on the field, and I really wanted to try out a really strong combination here, namely that of Silverin Guard together with the units of the Treekin. Obviously, these are unbuffed Silverin Guard, but they're still going to be very solid and defensive units. Between them and the Treekin together, I hesitate to wonder what of the Slaaneshi garrison would be able to try to break through them. The mass and extreme tankiness of the Treekin will prevent the charges of things like Chaos Spawn and Cavalry, and obviously the anti-large and very high defensive stats of the Silverin Guard will prevent the enemy from doing anything else. But anyway, before those guys get in combat, we've got to do a little bit of a range action as we sort of do area denial near to the exit or entrance to the enemy settlement. I would say probably exit because we're just going to keep our arrows going until the enemy decide to sally out. And they probably eventually will, or the other option, they move deeper into their settlement and thus they can't, well, they'll achieve a little. And there we go, our Silverin Guard and our Treekin are waiting. Oh, I forgot about the stupid little archway. It's gonna make it difficult to see these guys quite up close, but we'll do our best. Anyway, looks like the enemy's still milling around. Just speed it up a little bit more until they're ready to go. There is a unit of Spawn of Slaanesh here. And it looks like they decided that perhaps it's better to just strike rather than weather the storm of arrows. And they charge in, but once again get stopped by those Treekin of ours. We do hit them with a Spirit Leech, and the enemy moves in some exalted demonettes to try to help them out. There is also the fact that the Treekin are forest spirits and thus naturally have magical damage, which means not so great for the exalted demonettes. Plus, the Treekin have armor-piercing damage as well, which the Silver and Guard lack, and the two essentially compensate a little bit for each other's weaknesses. The only thing that the two together lack is high melee attack, so they would very much struggle against units with high melee defense, but obviously the Slaanesh are not anywhere near to high melee defense, so we should be just fine here. On top of the fact that if these guys are guarding for arrow units, well, they'll be the ones dishing out the damage while they hold the line. Alright, looks like the enemy is blobbed up, and as we can see, the Treekin are just fine. The Silver and Guard have taken a little bit of damage, but haven't lost much in the way of units. We do also have 4 Eagle units. Damn this archway for not allowing us to zoom in properly. We have 4 Eagle units to send to the fray, just to do a little bit of damage to the enemy Chaos Spawn. They are being brought down slowly but surely, but as we've seen with Erathon's army, the Eagles are quite adept at knocking out spawns, so we'll help them out, and then we'll move out once it's mostly Marauders and Demonettes left, as those guys could probably dish out solid damage to the Eagles, as they would be able to surround individual models. Anyway, the brawl continues, not nearly as many arrows falling down upon the enemy as we would perhaps like, as a lot of our units are blocking them off, but there's still a sort of steady stream of arrows coming down. The darn archway continues to annoy, as several of the hits from our Searing Doom smash into the archway instead of the enemy, and but the balance of power has shifted to about 70% in our favor, and still the enemy has failed to move through the Treekin and the Silver and Guard lines. And even if they did, there are Dryads behind those Treekin and ready to move in as well as needed. Alrighty, Hellstriders moving in, and these are the Hellscourge variety, so they will lower the melee attack of everything here. Looks like the enemy's spawn are running out, being targeted as they are by ranged arrow fire and by the Eagles alike. Some of the Eagles have started to take a little bit of damage here, nothing crazy though, as by and large they are behind the line of Treekin and Silver and Guard, which is also keeping them safe. Another potential for combos. Alrighty, and we got more reinforcements, which means even more Treekin and Dryads coming in. The enemy got reinforcements of their own as more exalted demonettes stream on down to Battletown, but by the looks of it, the balance of power continues to climb in our favor instead. I really wish I could zoom in a little bit more. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, this is about as good as it's gonna get. Damn that archway. If only we could knock it down with something. Oh, and in fact, that would be pretty neat if we could collapse it upon the units below. Perhaps there should be a little bit more collapsible structure action in settlements, minor and in major sieges as well, as collapsing a building or an archway or a bridge upon units below could be quite nice, and give additional uses to artillery and things like that, or things that do damage to buildings. Or at least bonus damage to buildings if we put very high stats on those things. Alright, but by the looks of it, the enemy is still moving in with decent numbers. We do keep on hitting them with the occasional Spirit Leech, Bony Hand doing a little dance up above, perhaps listening to Kotep's tunes. And it looks like our targeted sort of assault on the enemy Chaos Spawn has by and large paid off. We saw that there were like 6 different units of Chaos Spawn, or 8 different, well, that was a lot of Chaos Spawn units in the line, but we targeted them all with arrows and with Treekin and Silver and Guard and Eagle, and they're all now gone. Now it's just a matter of destroying the last of the enemy infantry units, which are still fairly numerous down there. But at the end of the day, they still fail to get through to the Silver and Guard and Treekin, both of which are still here. Silver and Guard nearly down to half HP, but only down to less than a quarter of their models after holding off all of that. And they're still just fine. Honestly, if we had a Life Mage, leveled up Life Mage here to repeatedly cast Life Bloom and a Shield of Thorns on these guys wouldn't have been able to do anything at all. In fact, with repeated Earthbloods, we might have been able to win without even using any range units. Anyway, another Searing Doom comes down, and I believe that one will take the battle for us. The last of the Demonettes begin to melt away. More arrow fire comes in as the enemy units peel away from our defending units, and the enemy shall run and give the battle to us. Very, very nice. Very solid defense. Certainly showing the power of those units. Let's go around, and there we go. Had to identify whichever unit needed proximity to shatter for the battle to be fully ours. Good. Alright, very nice. I was very happy with that. The single unit of Silver and Guard and 2 units of Treekin basically held off the entire enemy garrison by themselves and took minimal losses at that. The Treekin all remained alive and didn't lose a single unit, and the Silver and Guard once again took relatively few losses themselves. It's a very, very strong ground holding, relatively decently cost-effective combination between these two. Should we have sufficient spare Treekin, as in that they don't have to go into Alariel's army, we can have a bonus army with Dryads, Treekin, and the Silver and Garden, whatever, especially since Alariel's a little bit more focused on those Sisters of Avalorn. We are going to obviously occupy the place. I like so. And while Nakari's faction is not thus destroyed, it will be very shortly. You don't need the Trickster Shard. Frankly, you don't need the Herald of Methan either, but we're going to have you move around a little bit. Architect Elena needs to transfer these. We don't have any... We could delete some of the basic archers. I guess, you know what, let's wait a turn. I want to see what these guys all do. There's a decent likelihood that you attempt to reclaim Elysia, but I don't think that's going to work out. We shall see. Anyway, let's keep going. Ooh, actually, before we do, I wanted to see how long it would take to globally recruit some stuff. Namely, you should have at least, at minimum, 1... Eagle Claw Bolter. We could do 2 for you in theory, just to have a little bit of artillery available to you. Yeah, so let's delete you 2, because the rest of them are going to max out their HP. Then we'll have 7 of these guys, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. Alrighty. I mean, technically they'd need a Sisters of Avalorn, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's still just a... It's still just an Admiral army. They're gonna set sail and we'll never see them again as an actual force, as Tilnai covers the Lothern Sea Guard force nicely. Plus her army works better because of the presence of those Illyrian Reavers, buffed as they are. Recruiter Melendi, you're going to have to be a fighter, not a recruiter for at least a turn. So, Enthal, I'm gonna move you right here, and I'm gonna hope that this is actually in range of Pete Hawkins here. Do we bother leveling you up? I don't think I care enough to do so. Alrighty, and you are in range, but the entire army here will be in march stance, so that's going to mean we need to be a little bit careful. However, I'm hoping that because they're in march stance, you won't run. No, you will run. Damn. Okay, can we reach you? If we can't, it'll be a shame. Okay, you can, and you can. Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Alright. Hopefully there's another full stack nearby to instantly kill them, at least until we send Tyrion off to kill Noctilus and destroy his factions, so that they stop bothering us. Close victory, low casualties, but we've got new units in here, more Sisters of Avalorn and Handmaidens, Treekin, Dryads, and then of course those Silver Helms, which have not yet gotten their debut, so they shall debut right now. Alrighty, victory is destined, and we've got a lovely picturesque sort of skybox here. Lovely. But we do unfortunately have to wait for reinforcements, so we'll do it in the tree. Seems appropriate with the units of Avalorn and those Treekin and Dryads coming in as reinforcements. Plus, this will be the debut battle of our Silver Helms. We haven't had a chance to use those guys yet, and damn, 60 melee defense on them and 90 armor. The melee attack stats is relatively low on the sword guys, and obviously the melee defense is buffed by the martial prowess, but this is without Tyrion buffing these guys up and anything in the red line. So I'm excited to see what heights we can push those Silver Helms to, and essentially how close we can get them to something like Dragon Princes. Anyway, we've hidden all of our units in the force and are going to wait for our reinforcements to arrive on the field, and the enemy will use a little bit of that mortar bombardment on our lords. Silver Helms will peel away as the Dryads, Treekin, Sisters of Avalorn, and Handmaidens of the Everqueen move on to the field. The Handmaidens specifically to start targeting this darn mortar. It did, fortunately for us, move away from the rest of the enemy line. I don't imagine the Sisters of Avalorn will be particularly effective at this, but we shall see. Let's give them a chance at least. And this poor little zombie has... Man, actually, you have 2 arrows from a Handmaiden of the Everqueen in ya, and you haven't been killed? That's kind of impressive. But again, range units or range single entities or... Okay, range heroes and lords are just not good enough. And they need more splash or something. Just the raw damage is generally not good enough for them to do much. Alright, well, they'll continue firing. Looks like they're not really able to do too much to the mortars, but between the Searing Doom and the... Oh, purple crystals. Between the Searing Doom and the fact that the enemy is banished, it looks like they begin to crumble, and a few more hits and a few more seconds will see the enemy unit destroyed. There we go, no more mortars to worry about, meaning the rest of our army, our Dryads and Treekin and Silver and Guard and whatnot, can move forward. Now, the best way to fight this was be... Oh, hello, looks like the enemy deck guard are firing upon the Treekin and the Silver and Guard, and they'll take a fair few kids. But anyway, the ideal way to fight this would be to not fight in the water, as the enemy has a lot of aquatic units to their name. Treekin, as always, looking fantastic, incidentally. I cannot finish a single thought because I always interrupt myself. But anyway, to make this a little bit interesting, we will fight the enemy where they want to fight, right in the middle, in the water instead. Plus, this will allow our Silver and Guard, or Silver Helms, or rather, to work in the background a little bit more. Looks like some doggos and some bets have found our Silver Helms in these particular trees, trying to do the same thing that we did and get around. But I'd wager it's not going to go so well for them, as they just don't have the stats to get through the 60 melee defense of those Silver and Guard. There is an enemy bloated corpse out here as well, but one of our Sisters of Avalorn or one of our Handmaidens will head towards said corpse and destroy it. Bats will attempt to land upon her, and she will... Oh! By the looks of it, they landed just as the bloated corpse exploded, killing them all. Fantastic. Out here, the army begins clashing. The arrows of the Silver and Guard, for the love of God, the Sisters of Avalorn will fly overhead and once again give us a lovely show. Looks like we got some animated hulks, rotting ogre carcasses, fighting the Spirits of Elves in the Treekin there. Spirits of Elves occupying the dead wood there. Alright, well, they can fight in the water. Meanwhile, these Silver Helms are wheeling around and are going to go for that unit of deck gunners. Definitely the most threatening unit left on the field, and they are super fragile, so they'll get crushed pretty much instantly by the press of the Silver Helms. Alright, Dryads have made their way in, and the Silver Helms will join them to obliterate a unit of, by the looks of these guys, boarding crew? Not mob with handgunners, never mind. But there are boarding crew around. Alright, and then once we've dealt sufficient damage, the Silver Helms will simply peel away, send that one zombie flying, that was fantastic, right into the middle of the mob, and then get prepared to charge into the rest of the enemy units, especially as there are handgunners focusing down, there's the boarding crew, focusing down our units of Treekin. The boarding crew go flying, will charge right through them into the handgunners behind them, and get ready to move into the enemy army as well. I mean, be careful, let's not clip our own cavalry with the Searing Doom, avoided just by a hair's breadth, and it looks like all the enemy range units are now engaged. Very nice to finally see cavalry. I love using cavalry units myself. They're always very, very fun to use and to watch those glorious charges. And the fact that we haven't had them, well, we've been wanting more Dragon Princes, but being tier 5, it's just so difficult to get more of them on the field. Anyway, it looks like after those charges of the Silver and Guard and the Dryads and Treekin holding off the enemy main line, and the battle is just about ours, we're going to charge into the back of the remaining enemy units. and crush them between hammer and anvil. The enemy is still getting a little bit of healing going. Perhaps the enemy lord managed to cast from somewhere and deep within this melee press, but it hardly matters, as the units will disintegrate far faster than any residual spell can heal. And I do believe that the enemy lord has dropped in the press, and it's just now time to wait out the remnants of the enemy. Very, very nice. And not a crazy amount of work for our 2 individual units of Sisters of Avalorn in this particular battle, but, well, their themed army is going to be Alariel's, so... And that does make sense. Boarding crew still holding admirably. They're a very strong unit when you get sufficient buffs on them. I don't remember, I think it's, I want to say it's Noctilus that buffs them, but it might also be Luther Harkin that buffs them. I suppose it doesn't matter. Next time I play Vampire Coast, I'll be excited to make good use of them. Either way, the last of them get overrun and rejoin their watery, or their waterlogged friends in their watery graves. Alright, nice little fight. We got to see the Dryads and Treekin in action a little bit more, and plenty of work for the Silver Helms, all of which basically cleaned house. 21k damage on one of them, vastly outdoing everybody else, including the Sisters of Avalorn. Can't wait to see how well they function under Tyrion, who buffs them. Let's get the ransom captives. We could heal a little bit, but at the end of the day, more influence is better. Recruiter Melinda, obviously you don't need the talisman. Shadow armor is garbage, so we're going to probably give that to, or turn it into another item eventually. Now, Enthal, you can't move anywhere else, and I guess the both of you are going to stick around here, sort of. I mean, technically you need to transfer this stuff to Tyrion, but you wouldn't be able to reach... Huh, actually you could go to the Shrine of Loic and give it to him there. Slaanesh giggle. He is quite Slaaneshly corrupted by the looks of this, although with Nakari pretty much destroyed, that is hardly gonna matter. I take it one of these is on the hero and then one of these is on the lord? Oh, either way. Either way, we are fine. Yeah, it's these two. It's these two. Well, it's good that they stick together. Well, let's see if there's anybody else we need to move around before we fight again here, just to separate the battles if we can. Rodar and Arwenel, you're kind of stuck where you are, at least until you head down to that Orky village. Morella. Yes, I think we're gonna march stance you down here to Slaver's Point, or at least near to Slaver's Point, in case one of these guys attempts to take it. Would you be able to hold it with what you currently have? I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is that there's no way that they take Karand Kar. Ooh, speaking of Karand Kar, let's upgrade your Blessed Grove. Need more of the ability to... or more capacity for Sisters of Avalorn, lots more capacity for Sisters of Avalorn, in addition to the ability to build handmaidens up here. Plus, yeah, the garrison here is frankly very solid. We're going to essentially make the entirety of the Slave Gate a fortified area. We don't really want anything more out of these territories. We gotta figure out who to give them to. Probably it's gonna be Katep. Just gotta have to be careful about everybody hating us for giving stuff to Katep. You guys, are you friendly enough now? Maybe. Do they dislike... No, they still dislike gifts given to the exiles of Neheg. We just need them to get a little bit friendlier, so we'll probably use a little bit of influence to keep them nice and friendly with each other. I'm hoping we can start soon gathering enough influence to actually be able to use it for the court, but the fact is, it doesn't seem like it. You just don't get enough of influence generation. Man... Maybe if we save up enough, we could essentially force some of these guys to go to war with each other, like force Azazel and these guys to fight. We gotta figure out what a good option is. Warhost of the Apocalypse is still around, but their strength rank isn't super high, unlike the Disciples of Hashut, who are at what now? who were at strength rank 5. Yeah, not quite as good as Vlad, but we'll be bringing Vlad down ourselves. But anyway, we still need to spend at least 100 influence on an exemplar and at least a few more of those faction-wide growth growth heroes, the ones with fecund and... I forget what fruitful was it? The other one. Anyway, Larithiel.
Can I offer assistance?
You're stuck where you are. You're stuck where you are until you can get an actual army. If you'd like, you can transfer these Gate Guard to Admiral Yavathol, who will be using them. And we don't need the High Elven Archers, they're just here just in case we need to fight something off, like the Skaven attack. And we'll be deleting them after, but you could stick around for now. And you know what? Channeling's not a bad idea either. Recruiter Fern Harvest, you are ready to start recruiting Lothern Seaguard for Admiral Yavathol, which I suppose we could start on. Now, let's fight, and then we'll see if we have enough money to do so afterwards. Architect Elena. Okay, no, we've already moved you. Wait. No. I know at least there's a couple of lords that we haven't moved. Did I miss somebody? I missed Tyrion. I missed J-Address somehow. And I presume... Okay, you can't move. Alright, J-Address. I would like you to go to Demon Stump. The thing is, there's a high likelihood that Gouger Tifraba attacks it while Grimgor jumps down here. We will also move the Growers right to the edge of this territory, at the Sentinels still. But if they need to move into the Demon Stump's army, we'll put them there. And if not, we'll move Kirella into, well, to attack here. Ooh, actually, speaking of Kirella, can we get another Hawk Rider for Phaedian? No, 65, it's quite a bit. Let's double check if we have any missions from Ivras, the only one we really don't care about since we don't have access to their units. And we don't really have allegiance in decent amounts with anybody else either. Oh well, not a big deal, at least not right now. Alright, the rest of you are good, which means, unless there is somebody else that I skipped, it's not the Disciples, because they're waiting for Teclis for 2 more turns. Architect, I will deal with you between the episodes most likely. Tyrion. I guess it's time to fight, my friend. Yeah, Tyrion, go for Grommy. You can't go into any kind of stances because you'll be at sea anyway. Grommy's not gonna run because his army armies us. Let's put the Razor Standard on the Keepers of the Flame, and who should carry the Banner of Eternal Flame? I mean, we could keep the Noble together with the Gate Guard and then give them all fire attacks. Maybe that's the way to do it. Or we could put it on Tyrion to give him more damage, but it's generally better to buff up the entire army rather than one guy. So yeah, let's go for the Noble. Alright, the rest of that looks good to me. Let's try to knock Grommy off his high chariot. Go. Alright, here we go, Tyrion. Time to knock Grom the Paunch out before he does too much damage in the water here, though it looks like the enemy will draw first blood as a gaze of Mork smashes into our exalted Illyrian Reavers. Don't underestimate green skin magics, as even with the half of the projectiles smashing into the hillside, the Illyrian Reavers lose a quarter of their HP and units to that gaze of Mork. It's a 5-cost spell, and it's got massive range and pretty massive damage as well. Again, greenskin magic is very, very solid. For those that remember my Grimgor campaign, you'll probably remember that Grotzlik Gitstampa, the legendary Orc Shaman, as one of the highest performing single casters I've ever had in a campaign. He was pretty insane. Anyway, if the enemy wants to play the magic game, the Asur are more than willing to give it a try. We pop the Flamestorm, the Chain Lightning, and the Invocation of Asurion through the enemy lines, or Convocation of Fiery Convocation, there we go, that's it, through the enemy lines, and with that take about 500 kills and 82,000 damage. We have sent Tyrion to try to fight Grommy, but we activated the Curse of Anarion. It increases his damage massively, but he's just doing wacky rampage things, so he's running around. He's not even trying to attack Grom the Paunch, unfortunately. I do wish that the way that Rampage worked was a little bit different, and he would try to attack, you know, a Lord Like it would make a rampaging lords and heroes should attempt to attack enemy lords maybe, and or at least try to follow the closest target, or even the target that they were fighting before. But yeah, anyway, looks like Tyrion will peel away and allow Grom to move towards the rest of our lines. Fortunately for us, this army has the Keepers of the Flame Phoenix Guard. I was originally going to give them to Michaela, but you know, we'll have at least a few of them in Tyrion's army. Especially since we have to make room for some elites as the other army will have more Phoenix Guard, and on top of that we have the I want to say 4 or 5 exalted units that we got to put in this army. Anyway, looks like the Treekin, together with the units of Phoenix Guard, will be holding a decent pile of enemy up, a decent pile of stone trolls. Add to that, but that I think will work quite well. It'll work even better than against enemy units, or with the Silvern Guard, rather. Out here, Grommy is still fighting, has lost about a third of his HP, but Tyrion's rampage is now done, and he and Sunfang will make their way into the fray. The Treekin are freed up, and Grom instantly loses about a quarter of his HP from a couple of hits at Tyrion, who will now follow. Looks like Grommy has called his minion Goblin Big Boss. And the two will, well, actually, the Goblin Big Boss will attempt to go after Tyrion, but Tyrion will keep whacking away at Grommy, who will rather quickly break and rout. The rest of his army is in pretty bad shape, as well as the balance power shifts to about 90%. The Gate Guard are still firing, but with their 72 melee defense, would be perfectly willing to fight in melee if the enemy wishes it. Even the Orc Biggins are going to have a rather tough time on breaking through those Gate Guard defenders, especially with the Life Mage and a Heavens Mage, rather, and a unit of Treekin helping them out. Looks like the Phoenix Guard, together with the Treekin, held the enemy off just fine. Neither the Stone Trolls nor the Orcs or Gobos able to do anything about them. Tyrion continues to chase Gorami down, and it looks like another hit or two will bring Big Boy tumbling to the ground. Alright, come on, Tyrion. Hit him. Tyrion, please. Tyrion, now's the time. There we go. Nice blow with nice blow with Sunfang sends the Great Goblin spinning. Rather than chase the enemy down, as well, chasing behavior is kind of garbage from the AI, we're going to just use the Illyrian Reavers to surround the Goblin Big Boss and then allow Tyrion to deliver the final blows. And with that, obviously, the battle is ours, and all we gotta do is chase the remaining enemies down, but we can do so off screen. Alright, there we go. That was quite successful. By far the most damage we took was to the enemy mage, firing off that Gaze of Morkin to our exalted Illyrian Reavers, killing off like 16 of their number, or something along those lines. So good job to the mage, less good job to everybody else in his army, though the magics from Azuma here did quite well. A lot of those were also from the items that we've given her, whether temporary or not, though. The Fiery Convocation, rather, does work decently well in terms of theme with Tyrion's army. Now, the Curse of Anarion, not so great for him. Activating the ability Sword does make him hit harder, but because of the way that Rampage works, he kind of doesn't stay on target. Like, as we saw, he went for Grom and then immediately moved right into fighting other random units and sort of running around relatively uselessly. So it's a very, very long, almost debuff, because he can't really do anything with it. I'm not entirely sure that it's one that we want to use on him if we want to keep him effective. Maybe if he's the last unit on the field and he's completely surrounded, sure, but otherwise, Anyway, we're going to ransom those captives. We'll need to chase down the rest of the enemy army, though there ain't all that much in there, so we should be able to auto-resolve them. Diplomatic relations with Hot Elves, ooh. I think we're good in that regard, at least at this point. Even with the Confederation, our relationship with Batman is rising, so we're good. Anyway, auto-resolve the rest of this. A little bit of XP on... bonus XP on Tyrion.
They are free to go.
And Skipper, another Fear of Aramar, will grab the Mysterious Island, and then we'll pop you into Aggression. Mathland's Blessing, that'll certainly help out when we move to the Vampire Coast. Let us also then trade to Tyrion some of these units. You are going to land right here. And then he has room for... Oh, he has room for all of them. Like so. He's not obviously going to keep the Shuriken, but since it's probably going to take a fair few turns to get our Exalted units down here, we may just go with what we've got here and have him attack Galleon's Graveyard. He should be okay. I mean, if there's a full stack there, plus all of the elites, they may get well, it may be, maybe a little bit of trouble for him. But I suppose we could also move Enthal in. We do have to wait for the army of... I keep wanting to say Serena Catra and Alariel to come back. Anyway. I do miss that sled. Man, do I miss that sled. What a glorious mount. Honestly, I enjoyed the sled more than I enjoyed Bibabolos on Tamarkan. The sled is just... glorious. Is it a little overpowered? Maybe. I don't think that the sled does an insane amount of damage on its own. It's just that it's unstoppable. That's the thing. Even if it doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. Plus it allows Serena Catron to keep casting, but maybe a little bit overpowered. But anyway, it's just fun. It's good old-fashioned family fun. Warhol is present here at... Well, actually, I'd like to see what our capacity for Lothern Seaguard are. Oh, there, it's fine. We don't need this. We don't need that. You can then start recruiting. Lothern Seeker. I'm still gonna do both for this army. It's still just an Admiral army that'll never fight. We could pop ourselves into Rally Citizen Militia to speed up the process as well. Although I suppose next turn we'll need to build one of these. It's fine. It's not like we're in a real hurry to get the Admiral out in the sea. I see no islands here, so they're going to have to travel a fair while to sort of patrol this area. Ideally, we should have an Admiral essentially patrolling every sort of portion of the sea and just constantly gathering islands. Oh, we're going to need to get you a noble as well, but we also need to get a noble for Tyrion, or ideally a Sister of Avalorn for you. Well, actually, a Sister of Avalorn would work for Tyrion as well. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Actually, out of curiosity, do the sisters, or handmaidens rather, do the handmaidens provide hawkish precision to... Okay, no, it's not mounted units at all, so it would only affect the gate guard in Tyrion's army. Granted, he'll have 4 of them, but is it worth to put a handmaiden in the army just for that? Is the question, versus perhaps another noble. As the nobles would be able to get Horsemaster and buff up those Illyrian Reavers and those Silver Helms, which Tyrion has as a third of his army. I'm going to say the nobles might be better. If we have any additional space, maybe we'll get a Sister of Avalorn. Handmaiden. Bloody damn. I mean, they are sisters of Avalorn. You know what I mean. Anyway, I don't believe anybody else needs to move, or at the very least, if they did, I'm not aware of it anymore. We can skip the Garrison Lord and assign skill points, building upgrades, outpost with... Oh, it's still Talzin. Did we just build it? I swear, the second we build it, the enemy is going to go for us, but just build it, whatever. I've been waiting too long. I can't believe who are they allied with? They are allied with this and that. Estalia. Don't tell me Estalia is taking one of these positions. That's Carcassonne. That's Arguelon. And... what is this? What is this? Who's taking the outpost at the Crags of Findal? There's nothing there. Is it perhaps being built? I assume it's being built. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it means. It better not be Estalia. Rats, please kill Estalia. You're at war with them, right? How are they alive? I've never seen them survive. It's turn 99, game. Oh, Ikit. Where's the competence? Send the mutant in. He'll deal with them real quick, I'd wager. Anyway, this place is gonna get transferred or traded. We don't care about it. Death Gorge we will keep, but we'll probably hold off on. Well, Public Order maybe. Yeah, go for the Public Order. Obsidian Peaks, I mean, while we have a little bit of money, we should probably spend it. Clark Haran, you're kind of in the same position. Start on that colonnade. We've still got fair few turns of Invocation of Assyrian. Black Pillar. I guess we are probably going to keep it, so let's start on the dies to get more trading, and that's it for our money. Meaning, skip the here non-moved and end the turn. Lovely. Let's see. Ally mobilizes. Nakari will want peace, though he has no settlements remaining and will destroy himself, attempting to attack Elysia. Too bad he doesn't come back, because I'd love to get his defeat trait on more lords, but, you know. It's just such a good defeat trait. Combine it with a couple of dynamos with additional speed, you could get 40% extra speed on an entire army. That would be insane, especially on a slower moving infantry army. You could essentially make LOTHERN, Seaguard, or, well, okay, maybe somebody who wants to go into melee. White Lions, Swords Masters, make them run as fast as War Dancers. It would be pretty insane. Certainly something I'd love to do, but yeah, with Nakari gone, it's not super liable. We got a little bit of influence gain, gaining 88 per turn now, getting better. Once we start getting like 300 per turn, that would be ideal. A Rite of Awakening performed, Great Incantation of Xar performed, Minstrel don't care, Advisor to the King. On a Recruiter, yeah, that works. Minstrel, Herald of Mathan on Anorel, no. Not on a noble, it's useless. And Herald of Mathlan on Gandrel. You know what, in fact, I'd like to see how many Heralds of Mathlan we have for spare. 1, 2, 3, 4... No, actually, we have a fair few amount. Maybe we could start giving them to heroes and not just lords. More Advisors to the King. Okay, so why weren't we getting these before? Now we start getting these? Did something unlock that allow us to start getting those where we before weren't able to? It's kind of interesting. Interesting if odd, big if true, and hello, Alethanar. Well-a-ty, and he doesn't want peace, he'd rather die, he's been embarrassed. All of Elvenkind has heard his, of his idiocy at this point. Or maybe they didn't, all they heard was the screeching of eagles. Heralds of Ariel. Definitely Lothar Painbringer. Oh, it's good that we couldn't kill you, because we now get to kill you in this manner. Carcassonne, Lothar Painbringer. Everybody else except possibly Tiranoc and Torellisor, we don't care about the missions from them. Actually, wait, if their missions... You know, let's kill off Lothar Painbringer? Is there a limit to the number of missions? I don't want to lose out on the mission from the Wood Elves, so let's just not risk it. Arathond, kill. Saint Louis indeed, my friend. Saint Louis indeed. Kill. And auto-resolve. This better not kill off any eagles. Now we're good, 0 losses. And ransom captives. How many turns do you have ransom captives for? Ooh, Razor Standard, nice. 8 turns, not as many as I'd like. Ally mission successful, Ghost of Pahwux, good. That was a lot of good. Oh my lord. Oh, that was a good kill. Oh, I'm glad we couldn't catch him last turn, damn. Enemy killed in battle, beautiful. Arathon, you... are going here. You can't reach Soulcryer's Netherwild. Slaanesh, obvious Slaanesh giggle is obvious. You, can you reach? You cannot, oh come on. You gotta be kidding me, we gotta wait another turn to kill this off, don't we? Alright, fine, you're gonna go into Elysia for now. You and Drina, and frickin' Village slowing you down, go into Evershale, you're headed down to meet Tyrion. And then you two, I will deal with your units between the episodes. I'm just not sure who's gonna get what right now, so, yeah. Please, somebody needs to kill that thing. And, ooh, hello. You're sailing down here. We should send an army after you. Sin Dancer of the Subtle Torture. So where do you go, is what I wonder. I take it you can't reach Alethanar by the looks of it now. Alright, you're gonna go right here. Wait, you don't have the defeat trait for Alethanar, do you? Wait. What is the defeat trait? Is that the faction-wide... Okay, wait.
Magic in purest form.
Arathon, you would have the defeat trait for Alethanar, because you have the defeat trait of, like, every enemy elf all together. Shadows Fall. Hero action minus 10%. We don't really care about the cost reduction, but the hero's success chance faction-wide is real nice. Are you able to leave to sea for a turn? Hope so. It doesn't really matter who we get this on, so if you go right here, he shouldn't run in theory. He should be destroyed.
They will die.
And you'll lose the High Elven Archers. Do we care about that? We don't care about that. Auto-resolve. We're not gonna bother with that. After that nonsense that he pulled, we don't need to give him the, we don't need to give him the satisfaction of a glorious last stand. Goodbye, Alethanar. There we go. More hero success chance means more influence and more tech thievery. You will return to Khorne Car. At least until you're ready to... Actually, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, Admiral into Slaver's Point. And get ready to head to sea. And we'll see what Sin Dancer does, but she ain't taking any of this, I think. Faction destroyed Nagaroth at last. Beautiful. Now, Hotep is out of the Blacklight Tower. He is moving out here. Valkyek has not yet built up a proper stack. Let's make sure that we steal tech from Spy to Reach. Very nice. And move you, Influencer. How many turns do you have? 29. You're probably okay, but let's move you to scout out in this area. I guess we should move another one out there, but anyway. Belharathoi. Oh, is the game gonna say that your units, because they're basic, aren't sufficient to deal with this? It better not. Not after what you've done. Yep. Alright, Spide Reach and... Nah, no losses. Helm of Discord, nice pickup. Alright, Occupy. Alright, Dydroros, good job, buddy. And don't need that. We can... Do we need to keep you around? That free Ogre Blade as well. Go into Merchant Lord. Alright, Belharathoi. March stance now. We're still gonna suffer attrition, but I think a turn's worth isn't gonna be a big enough deal for you. You know what? Maybe we should give the Herald to Methon to your noble to reduce the attrition. You have one of your own, right? You don't? Oh. I forgot I'm an idiot. Herald of Mathlan free. I mean, back then, obviously, we didn't actually have enough Heralds of Mathlan, so there was that to consider. There we go. That should reduce the attrition slightly. Oh, it's only from storm attrition. Oh, never mind. That'll do nothing. But you still needed the campaign movement range. You then don't need it. I got excited thinking it was all attrition. Imrik, is Scarby back? He is not returned, and King Agatep is heading towards him. By the looks of it, we have no choice but to destroy Scarby. With no... Wait. Is that a camp? Is that a Coronate camp? Is that a Scarby out there somewhere? No, it's just Hexa's Zorateller. Could you reach Gorgazan in one round? I want to give Scarbran a chance to return, but I'm not sure. If he got wounded like a turn ago, there's no way that we can wait around for like 8 turns or whatever for him to come back, or 5 turns or whatever. There is one thing we can do. Well, we can waste some of Imrik's time by besieging the place, and perhaps Nexus will get replaced. I don't generally like wasting time, but I'm willing to give them like a turn of a chance. Although I suppose if this guy moves up here... No, wait, this is full of rats, so we should still be fine. In theory. Anyway, Feojin and Co. Now, you need to get to your new army with your Skycutters and all of your... Actually, what happened here? Okay, Grimgor did move down here. Ooh, Skycutters. Just...
Master of high magic.
Would we be able to fight this? I don't know. But I would love to. Go here, in March stance. And if you were to sally out, would the growers be able to move into your army? Looks like it, yes. Let's see if we can make this happen. Growers, the main thing you'll need is Spirit Leech. So, Burning Gaze, Spirit Leech, Earthblood. We could get a point in Harmonic Convergence. Frankly, you're supposed to spread control and do other stuff, but, well... We can always pop you into an army once you're no longer needed to grow stuff. This, Spirit Leech, Earthblood, and Harmonic Convergence. Probably do a Melkoths on one of them, but it's too late. And Spirit Leech on you. Just the Leech. The rest of you move into Jaedrus's army. Or do we put you into Corella's army? It's fine. It shouldn't in theory matter. Depending on whether Grimgor will run, but he might not. Because he's not close enough to draw out the garrison, which might do it for us. Alright, growers in there. First you were growers, now you'll be showers. Go here. I'm really hoping that Grimgor doesn't run. I mean, it's a March stancing, half a stack, and a stack full of garbage, base garrison garbage. Come on. I want to see those Skycutters. Yes, he'll fight Pyrrhic victory. We've got Grimgor to deal with. Let's see how well the Skycutters can savage those savage giants. Go. Alrighty, here we go. At last it has come time to debut the LOTHERN SKYCUTTERS, and I am very excited about it. They're a very strong unit that, well, you can pretty much put in any army and they would be very much a help to it. So, we'll see how they fare against the Grimgor's Horde, and fortunately, Grimgor does provide us various types of units, essentially, to try them out against. And also, look at our Lord Masters standing together. A little bit of a preview of what's going to be in Teclis's new army as well, except obviously they're leading Swords Masters instead of spears and whatnot. Our main stack will be waiting behind as we will be harassing the entire enemy army with our flyers instead. Now, we do have to be careful as the Lord here is on foot, so she's gonna have to try to get away. But anyway, look at those SKYCUTTERS. There we go, their ballistas fire and their crew as well, getting ready to riddle the enemy with arrows. I love those, I forget what these things are called, swift feather rocks or something like that, the birds that are pulling these SKYCUTTERS. Yeah, I think there's some kind of hawk variant, but they're native to Ulfon. They look very similar model-wise, certainly, to the hawks of the Hawk Riders, which will make them fit in here nicely as well. Anyway, we can see the crews of the SKYCUTTERS already firing at the enemy, both ballista and a regular unit. We're going to move away our Hawk Riders as they will be in the way, and we gotta be a little bit careful. And there we go. Very, very nice, and the damage is already starting to come through. We also want to have their ballistas focus down on single entities, so the Savage Giant will be the target today. And there we go, looks like the crew's arrows are doing decent damage as well. The Giant quickly loses about a quarter of its HP, and that considering it has 50% missile resistance and another 10% physical, so 60% total on top of an absolutely massive HP pool. And there we go, this one is certainly not going to get to our main lines. And a couple more hits and the Giant will be out of here. I do think that adding a couple of units of SKYCUTTERS would be very nice for pretty much any ranged army. And we could potentially buff them even further by combining them with Gate Guards. There's probably a few armies where we might get a couple of them just as support units, because they can also harass enemies and chase. Probably significantly better at the job than Illyrian Reavers. But I do like the Reavers nonetheless. Anyway, the SKYCUTTERS will continue hovering around the enemy army, firing in every direction as they do, and we'll focus the next enemy Giant shortly. There is an enemy range unit that was firing upon them and annoying them, the Rusty Errors, but fortunately they've been, well, live by the arrow, die by the arrow, and die, most of them did. We'll run them down with the SKYCUTTERS just to make sure that they don't come back, and have the Hawk Riders take care of another unit of Goblin Archers here. Alright, just get a little bit of melee action for the SKYCUTTERS. Come on, come down. There we go, fire into their backs. These guys might make it off screen, yeah. By the looks of it, they'll make it away, but not to worry, we've got another unit to deal with. There we go, send a few of those gobos flying. And I don't imagine that they're going to be able to fight in melee all too well. We got bleed application and decent weapon strength on these guys after all. Alright, very nice. Out here, the other SKYCUTTERS are annoying whatever enemy units are moving towards us. Grimgor's brought a fairly big pile of Black Orcs as well. The sort of dark steel plate that the Black Orcs got works much better than the colorful variants for certain other factions with their faction color scheme. Anyway, there is another Giant heading towards us, but it's down to half HP now with I think 3 units of SKYCUTTERS or 2 units of SKYCUTTERS attacking them. Hawk Riders have moved in and have repeatedly sort of switched their ammunition type, switching between multi-shot arrows and armor-piercing arrows, depending on who they're firing on. SKYCUTTERS are also working on the troll units periodically. Perhaps not the best idea to separate our damage too much. But frankly, it's working pretty well. I mean, the enemy army has taken devastating losses just moving towards us. Black Orcs down by about 30% of their HP here. This unit of Biggins is down to maybe 25%, and while a few units like Trolls will make it towards our lines, they will have to deal with the spears and arrows of our regular units. Alrighty, Grimgor is on his way as well. We have purposely not targeted him with Skycutters, however, as I did want the disciples, or okay, I'm calling all the lore masters disciples, the growers in this particular case, to get a little bit of action. Grimgor moving towards us. We're gonna Spirit Leech him and gonna keep that up. The Skycutters focusing down this last giant, which will take probably a couple more hits before being brought down. There we go, very nice, and a little bit of help from the Hawk Riders as well. Grimgor has made his way in with a unit of Black Orcs as well, and the Growers will stand against them. Granted, they have no items, and they have no real fighty skills, but they do have Spirit Leeches aplenty, they do have healing available via Life Bloom, and that's still 3 armor-piercing great swords that will hit Grimgor pretty hard. And we can buff them up. I assume that this does work on them. The Channeling Spire, not just on mages. Well, I mean, they are mages. Yeah, so they get the 15% damage resistance on top of the additional charge rate. And by the looks of it, Grimgor is having a pretty bad day. The Spirit Leeches and the Great Swords have brought him low, and he will break with about 20% of his HP remaining. The rest of his army isn't doing much better, having taken so much damage from the Skycutters, who I notice have just tons and tons of ammunition. Another reason why they would work really well as a harassing unit, as long as the enemy doesn't have a massive pile of range. Because by the looks of it, they can keep firing for pretty much an entire battle. Grimgor is going to attempt to run away, but with 60 HP remaining, a couple more hits from an arrow or perhaps a Spirit Leech will bring him low. And with that, the battle will be ours. Aerial supremacy, and I can't wait to put these things into Phaedion's army. Alright, very lovely work. Anyway, we got a little bit of chasing to do as the enemy army is, after all, in our territory, and it wasn't intercepted. It was just an underway stance, but since it wasn't intercepted, it will not be destroyed. And I forgot to mention this, Hawk Riders are great at sniping individuals as well, but they are also absolutely fantastic at dishing out damage. They have fairly high armor piercing, I think. Yeah, weapon strength. I mean, that's 82 weapon strength on 24 units, and likely a little bit of splash damage on them, compared to the 4 units of Skycutters with 105. I just remember these things do an absolutely monstrous amount of melee damage when given the chance. They are very fragile, so they're better used to hit the enemy in the back, etc., but clearly it works quite well. Well done. Can't wait to see more of these. Alright, you know, I'm quite glad now that Grimgor decided to march down and annoy us, because we got to witness the glory of the Skycutters. Look at that damage, 26k, 24k, 25k, 22, 24, and 24. Magnificent damage from them, and I can't wait to see just to what heights Phaedion will be able to push them. Very, very nice work. And a couple more Hawk Riders will round them out nicely. We are also, well, they haven't been able to completely destroy the army. The Skycutters just obliterated the Black Orcs and the Savage Orc Giants, plus any range units that attacked them once the melee units were gone. Very, very happy with the unit. Let's see, we are going to ransom the captives. More money, more influence, as always. Now, the remnants of Grimgor's army will run. I wager you won't be able to reach them from here. But it looks of it, no. Or will you? A moment. Perhaps, if we move the 2, 4, whatever, these guys out of this army, namely you, and you will have sufficient room. Beautiful. Sufficient range, whatever. Oh, I probably could have taken a mission. It doesn't matter. Yeah, might have separate, blah, blah, blah. Alright. Alright, we're good. We're good. And there goes Grimgor's main stack. He'll be back, I'm sure, when it's probably only a matter of time until Koleg declares war on us. I mean, I guess the question is going to be... yeah, you hardly need defeated Grimgor trait, but anyway. I guess the question is going to be where we send Theoden. I was originally going to have her move through the Empire, but if we move like this, we could meet with the Skycutters here, and then instead move northward to knock out perhaps Throth the Unclaimed. He's going to keep annoying us and our friends here. The other option would be to send her... through to revive the Darklands, essentially, so life in there, maybe even take, well, I wanted to save Jarnagrin for Teclis, because we haven't had any mileage out of the Swords Masters as yet. We got one turn until we start recruiting those. Honestly, the way that this is headed, this is starting to look like a world conquest potential campaign. I'm definitely having so much fun with this one, and... definitely going to add it to my list of my favorite campaigns there. Anyway, Phaeton, I'll think about what to do with you. Arwinil, you, we're gonna go and head down to hello, Shushku the Fury. Need to catch you. We could try to pop you into ambush stance. Although that won't give us as much range as we'd like, and it might allow for Mash to move away. Honestly, I think I'd rather move you as close to Shushku as we possibly can go, and then we'll see. We'll see if it reacts in any way to any of this. You still need to transfer those Athilmar chariots to Imrik, at least until he peels away the chariots from the other stuff. This will just keep an eye on. Is Scarbrand able to revive? I think he can still replace X's Zoratel, or at least I hope he can, because Imrik wants that duel. I mean, you guys know what you think about that, because we could get the duel, or we could do this right now and then get the long victory achieved, which would be a fairly significant buff via... for many things. I mean, granted, we'd get this anyway. It's just that who knows how many turns until Scarby revives. Anyway, Admiral Astakar, you now have your Eagle Claw Bolters, and though you've little to no mana to speak of, I think you're good to move out to sea now. Go this way. Yes. Disciple Obermann, you have got to rejoin Teclis. We've got a long way to travel, my friend. Somebody suggested we reset him, but as I understand it, the reset for heroes doesn't work the same way as it resets for lords. You can't re-recruit a hero. If you reset a hero, they will simply revive at the closest nearest settlement, which will be down here, making it pointless. And thus we'll have to deal with it that way. Gwyndian, I was going to give you your own army, especially since you have some good defeat traits at this point and are fairly strong as well. As to what kind of army...
how can I assist you?
I guess that remains to be seen. Would you want to... let's see... dangerous, sundering attacks. We could, in theory, use you to lead our undeath army, or our undead dragon army. There's certainly potential for that. We gotta put Shakalot somewhere. I'll think about it. It's the only one who... the only army I mean that we don't really have a leader for at the current time. Anyway, I think with that, folks, we're out of time, or at the very least, I will call the episode here. There's a lot of admin to do, like moving the influencers around, and sealing tech, and maybe a little bit of building, or redoing some of the buildings in our newly acquired territories. Ooh, Shrine of Cain. Yes, let's put that up to the next level as soon as possible. Gotta get those, gotta get that additional post-battle loot as well. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna call it here. There will be... I mean, I was about to say there will be a lot of stuff to do next time as well, but, well, that's probably going to be true for the next episode for a while yet. It's essentially almost evolved into a sort of like a hemisphere war, as basically everything to the north is an enemy, and we've nearly destroyed all the enemies to the south. Probably should send somebody around to deal with the Blessed Dread, but, we'll have to think about it, as well as whether we fight or we keep Khemri around. They own the Black Pyramid of Nagash, so there could be potential for grabbing that and then giving the rest of their territories to the lizards. They are fighting our human friends here, after all, and they're not even fighting Arcan. Oh, I guess we can send Imrik to deal with Arcan as well, and maybe Michaela to start burning rats. She is good at that sort of thing, as we've already seen. Anyway, more Imrik to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold, as it will determine how often this campaign is still posted and how soon it moves to the second channel. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.